Alright, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Randy here with RTS Mobile Gaming, bringing you an amazing video today. Happy frickin' Thursday, baby. It's actually Friday Eve, so get excited for that. Anyways, in today's video, we are talking about the Lord of the Rings Rise to War, and we are covering a quick recap, analysis, review, pew 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 of the new commander, Qurwan. Alright, my Qurwan, I've got him up to level 48 here. He just came out a few days ago. I have him at Respect level 5. So what you're going to see here is an evil men-centered build focused on really debuffing and grinding my enemy into the pulp. Okay, so how Qurwan works, if you guys are not familiar, is he doesn't actually deal any commander damage himself. He doesn't really deal any massive buffs to his units himself. But what he does do is he debuffs the enemy. He's kind of the debuff god. He debuffs the enemy into the ground so hard with so many different insane debuffs that if you don't have cleanse on your team, you're going to get whoopied on, okay? So he has these phenomenal skills, right? I've got Catastrophe of Elves. He's got, which is going to give me about 36% damage received debuff against my enemies who are elves. He's very race-specific in his debuff targeting, right? He focuses on countering elves, men, and dwarves. So if you're fighting against other evil troops, you will be at a slight disadvantage because you will not be able to debuff them with the 36% damage received. And then here in Catastrophe of Elves, I branch further into Everlasting Torture, which reduces the enemy damage by 7% every single round, and this stacks. So by round 7, we're at 49% damage reduction, right? Then he's got Nimbleness, which is going to reduce the ranged damage my enemy units deal by 28%. And this is actually a buff to my units. This one is not dispellable. Of course, he has the standard ringwraith skill here, which is phenomenal, okay? But I'm just using it to get a few procs of the Morgul Poison. Morgul Poison, if you're not aware, applies a debuff as well. And the intent is, if you are facing somebody with a cleanse, hopefully they'll cleanse the Morgul debuff over one of your other attacks or abilities, okay? And then we have a point in Nazgul Screech for the same thing to contribute to a little bit of damage and a cleanse, okay? And next I have 15 out of 15 into the Catastrophe of Men tree. This is the Respect 5 talent. This thing is phenomenal. Again, 36% damage to the men, okay? Faint. This is really one of the few buffs other than Nimbleness that he's got for his own units. Faint is going to, it's an RNG proc, and what it does is it gives your units plus 35% damage for their next attack. This can trigger 5 times throughout the fight. I've been on fights where this triggers in round 2. I've been on fights where this triggers in round 5. So it's RNG based. Okay, then we have Intimidation, which is an anti-commander skill. It's going to be minus 28 might, as well as a 50% chance to stun the enemy commander. So by round 5, you're at 140 minus might on the enemy, okay? So, let's see how this actually plays out in a battle. I don't know who I'm fighting, what kind of army they have. This will be a good PvP test here. We're going to grind it out. Get excited. And then Qurwan actually has Catastrophe of Elves as well, which I skipped because I don't have points in that right now. Dwarves, sorry. Catastrophe of Dwarves is fantastic, same 36% damage boost. And then his side abilities are Consequence of Greed, which is basically a 100% chance at 7 points to cause madness in the first round to all units. And then Armor Corrosion is phenomenal to run a physical build. It's minus 35% defense ignoring for your units. So that is actually a buff as well. So he's got 6 or 7 debuffs and then 3 buffs. Let's see how this played out. Wow, I got a victory. Was it a real army that I fought? I don't know. Oh, that was a pretty good fight, huh? Look at that. Look at this one. You guys wanted to see Qurwan in the flesh? Here he is. Okay, so we'll do a real quick line by line of this report so you can see how it works out, and then we'll hit the like and sub button because you guys love me long time, and I love you long time. So check this out. That's crazy. So we're fighting against a half decently geared Aragon II here. He is running a high commander damage build with Anduril. And, okay, he's got not the best build that I would be running. I'd probably change this up a little bit here. But this is a good test of the build, okay? So we'll do some more testing with some stronger commanders later. But this is a good first PvP battle for Qurwan. So as far as raw damage-wise, we've got my halberdiers did the bulk of the damage. Okay, the enemy, Aragorn, did the bulk of the damage. Here in the line-by-line report, let's take a look. You're going to see all these debuffs happen, and since Aragorn doesn't have a... Samsung has this new thing where you can see where my touch is on the screen at the little circle. It's pretty cool. There's Everlasting Torture. Look at that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. There's the Everlasting Torture on the Bonites, the Marshals, and the Dundanes, reducing their damage. There's my might reduction from Intimidation. I'm going to sneeze in a second. Woo! Sorry. Bad allergies in the rainy season here. Okay? Okay, there's the Dragoons coming in. Jesus. All right. Sorry about that. There's my Inspire buff from my helmet, triggering on the halberdiers. They're going to deal 30% increased damage right there. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. There's the halberdiers punching them in the face for 20k damage. So keep in mind, these men units are debuffed, right? They have that 36% debuff or whatever here. 36% debuff against enemy men for my Catastrophe of Men skill. So, they're going to take phenomenal damage from all of my units. Plus, I got that 30% damage boost from my helmet here. Okay. Into round 2, let's see if I can trigger Feint. Here's Intimidation. I'm really cutting Aragorn's legs off out the knee here by taking all of his might. Okay. More damage reduction there. So nice. It's such an interesting build, guys, because if I can definitely see this being very heavily RNG based, but the longer my army lives, the weaker the enemy gets from that stacking debuff. It's so insane. There's the halberdiers without the double buffs, 11k damage there. Let's see if I can trigger a Feint. Oh my goodness. Here in round 3, his units have minus 21% damage dealt. It's insane. Minus 84 might for Aragorn. Just going to draw things on the screen. Yeah, let's do a little smiley face. Okay, here we go. Qurwan in round 3. We just triggered the Feint effect. For the next attack, all 3 of my units will deal 35% boosted damage. How nice is that, huh? Halberdiers, 35% boosted damage from their counterattack. Okay. Fallen coming in hot and heavy, hitting for 10k right here. Very nice. Here's the Dragoons coming in hot. Look at that. And here the Fallen have now been boosted by another 30% damage boost from my helmet. Let's jump down to round 6. Let's get down to round 6 and see what those debuffs look like. Here in round 6, ladies and gentlemen, we are reducing the enemy damage by 42%. Absolutely phenomenal. Okay, and keep in mind the Bonites are dealing 28% reduced damage to me for my Respect 1 tree. Aragorn's down 160 might. He's lost more than half of his might. Not dealing any damage with his abilities. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Feint again, triggering in round 6. Look at that. There we go. We got Feint triggering. The Fallen's damage is maxed out. The Fallen punching them in the face for 8,400 damage here. The Dragoons, again, boosted. Guys, this is phenomenal. So, what an interesting fight. What an interesting commander. Again, if you're not fighting against men or dwarves or elves, you will lose about 36% of your damage based on my current might level. Of course, that damage debuff fluctuates between, and it goes above 24% based on your total might, right? So my height's fairly high because I have some maxed out equipment on. Let's do a 30-second review of the equipment. I hear the baby starting to whine. I gotta go feed her in a second. We have pure might on the weapon with some plus melee damage. The chest, I'm running Shroud with might and defense. Okay. The helmet, I actually really like this helmet. The only question is, I'm sacrificing, stun or madness immunity in the first few rounds, but I've decided I like this particular helmet because it gives my units a boost of 30% damage, which, when it procs at the same time as Feint, is 65% damage bonus to my units on their attack. So I like that. And then for the weapons, I am using the Drums of Barad-dûr. Alright, so give me the like and sub if you enjoyed this video. I think this guy's interesting. He's going to be a power to beat, especially in single target PvP. Facing men, elves, and dwarves. Okay? Give me the like and sub. Love you guys a long time. Randy out.